You know, it's kind of wild to think that, like, way back in ancient Greece, Olympic athletes were actually using garlic for
It
performance.
really is. And it wasn't just some old wives' tale either.
Right. Modern science is actually starting to show why that might have genuinely helped them.
Yeah. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Could some of these really common health issues we face today,
Yeah.
could the answer be hiding, like right in the kitchen?
Exactly. I mean, think about this silent health crisis people talk about.
Mm-hmm. Chronic inflammation, stiffening arteries, maybe immune systems feeling a bit, worn down.
It's not rare stuff. It affects so many people.
Oh, huge numbers. The statistics are pretty startling when you look closely.
They really are. Like, nearly half of American adults. That's what, over 116 million people with high blood pressure?
And the scary part is only about a quarter of them actually have it under control.
Get this, then you add over 94 million with high cholesterol.
Wow.
And I mean, who hasn't had a cold? The average person gets like 2 or 3 a year.
Which adds up. That could be like a whole month of feeling under the weather every single year.
Ugh. And the sneaky thing is how these conditions develop, right?
Totally. It's gradual. Damage can be happening for ages before you even feel a symptom.
So by the time you notice something's wrong.
Yeah, the problem might already be pretty advanced, unfortunately.
And the standard approach usually is medication.
Mhm.
Statins, ACE inhibitors, anti-inflammatories.
Which are definitely important tools. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But they often focus more on managing the symptoms.
Right. Managing what we feel.
And there's the cost aspect, too. Not just money and prescriptions are expensive in the
Oh,
U.S.,
yeah.
but also potential side effects and just the psychological burden of constantly needing medication.
It can almost feel like the condition starts to define who you are.
Exactly. Which is such a contrast when you look back historically.
Yeah, for thousands of years, people relied on nature, right? Botanical medicine.
Absolutely. Ancient India, China, Egypt, Greece, Rome, they all had these really sophisticated systems using plants for health.
And the fascinating thing is, one remedy keeps showing up again and again across all these different cultures.
Raw garlic. It's amazing.
Isn't it? Egyptian laborers building pyramids, Roman soldiers on campaigns.
Chinese physicians, Ayurvedic practitioners in India, they all independently figured out it was good for heart health, fighting infections, calming inflammation.
For 5,000 years, separate discoveries, all pointing to garlic.
It's incredible, really.
Okay, but here's the part that gets me. Modern medicine. It doesn't really put much focus on garlic, does it?
Generally, no. And it seems like the reasons might be less about the science and more, well, economic.
The money.
You can't patent the whole garlic clove. So there isn't that massive financial incentive for drug companies to fund the huge, expensive trials needed for official medical approval like they do for synthetic drugs.
So it's this kind of irony, right? We spend billions managing these conditions with drugs.
While this accessible, affordable option with thousands of years of history and growing scientific backing is just sitting there.
And it's not like some trendy new supplement either. Garlic has really stood the test of time.
And scientific scrutiny, increasingly.
Okay, so let's peel back the layers then. What's the science? What happens when we chop garlic? That smell.
Right. Because a whole clove doesn't smell much, does it?
No, not really.
Inside that clove, you've got stuff kept separate. A compound called alina and an enzyme called allinase.
Okay.
When you crush or chop it, you break the cell walls, and those two suddenly mix. And that triggers this biochemical reaction.
Mm.
The allinase enzyme converts the alan into allicin.
Allicin, that's the key one.
That's the star player, yeah. It's responsible for that pungent aroma and a lot of the therapeutic effects.
So the smell is the sign that the good stuff is happening.
Exactly. It's those sulfur compounds being released. And those are linked to so many of the benefits.
And it's not just allicin, you said.
Oh, no. Garlic is complex. It has over 200 bioactive compounds identified. But the sulfur ones, like allyl sulfides, phenyldiphins, ajoines, those are the most studied.
Okay. And this allicin, it doesn't stick around for long.
That's right. It's quite unstable. It quickly breaks down into other beneficial sulfur compounds.
And those compounds do different things.
Yeah, a whole range. Some fight microbes. Some are powerful antioxidants. They neutralize those damaging free radicals, reduce oxidative stress, and others help calm inflammation throughout the body.
And there's actual research backing this up. We're not just guessing.
Oh, absolutely. Proper studies. Research shows these compounds scavenge free radicals and even boost our body's own antioxidant defenses.
Okay.
And other studies found garlic extract lowered inflammation markers and increased overall antioxidant capacity. So Yes, the science is there.
Now, for people listening wanting to actually use this, does how you prepare the garlic matter? A lot.
Oh, hugely.
Mm.
Massively. If you just throw whole cloves in to cook.
Like in a roast.
Yeah. You're not really breaking enough cells to get much allicin formed.
Yeah.
Slicing is a bit better.
But
Crushing, mincing, really mashing it up, that causes the most cell damage so you get the maximum potential.
okay, so smash it. Got it. But is there like a timing thing, something people miss?
Yes. This is absolutely critical. The enzyme reaction needs time.
Ah,
If you crush the garlic and immediately throw it in a hot pan,
which is what I always do.
right, most people do. But the heat instantly kills that allinase enzyme. Poof. No allicin production, or very little.
So what should we do?
You need to let the crushed or minced garlic sit, rest, for about 10 minutes before you cook it or eat it raw.
10 minutes. Wow. That seems simple, but probably makes all the difference.
It really does. Studies show that 10-minute rest can preserve something like 70% of the potential allicin.
Yeah.
Cook it immediately and you get almost none.
Okay, that's a huge takeaway. Just crush it and let it sit for 10 minutes.
That one simple change can maximize the benefits.
And that probably explains why garlic supplements are so variable too.
Exactly. A lot of processing methods just destroy that enzyme. The good quality ones use special techniques like enteric coatings to protect it so the reaction can happen later in your gut.
And it sounds like it's not just one compound, but the whole orchestra playing together.
That's the idea of synergy, yeah.
Hmm.
Allicin gets the headlines, but it's likely the combination of all these different compounds working together that gives garlic such broad effects.
Whole food power.
Often seems that way, which might be why studies using whole garlic sometimes show better results than just isolated allicin.
It's amazing how this traditional knowledge is being backed up now by, what, thousands of studies?
Over 5,000 peer-reviewed studies now.
Yeah.
It really bridges that gap between ancient observation and modern science. It's quite validating.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. The immune system. That statistic about potentially cutting common colds by almost 70%. That's huge.
It really grabs your attention, doesn't it? Especially thinking about winter wellness.
Totally. And our immune systems are constantly, under attack, right?
Constantly challenged. Viruses in the air, bacteria on surfaces, pollution, processed foods, even just stress.
Yeah.
Research shows environmental toxins can dampen our T-cell response, lack of sleep hits our natural killer cell activity.
So our defenses can get worn down. How does garlic step in?
Well, aged garlic extract AGE has shown some really promising results.
Okay.
One study found people taking AGE daily for 90 days had 58% fewer colds or flu instances.
Wow, 58%.
And when they did get sick, they were sick for 61% fewer days.
Pretty significant. That is significant. What's it doing on a cellular level?
Well, allicin and its breakdown buddies seem to boost the killing power of neutrophils. Those are your immune system's first responders.
Mm-hmm.
And they activate natural killer cells, which are crucial for taking out virus-infected cells. Plus, they ramp up macrophage activity, the cleanup crew.
So it's like calling in reinforcements and giving them better weapons.
Kinda, yeah. And
Yeah.
it even seems to have direct antiviral effects.
Really?
Research suggests garlic extract can actually stop some viruses, including influenza, from latching onto and getting inside our cells in the first place.
That's totally different from cold medicine then.
Completely. Most over-the-counter meds just suppress symptoms, the runny nose, the cough.
Right, they make you feel a bit better, but don't fight the bug.
Exactly. Garlic seems to support your body's own fight against the infection, while maybe also easing symptoms a bit through its anti-inflammatory action. It helps the natural process.
Okay, so for immune support, what's the dose? How much garlic?
Studies suggest 1 to 2 raw cloves daily can significantly boost those important immune cells like NK cells and gamma delta T cells over about 45 days.
Raw cloves. Got it. And timing matters if you feel a cold coming on.
Seems so. One study found starting garlic right at the first sign of symptoms shortened the illness duration by about a day and a half.
That's worth knowing, and preparation is still key here. Crush and rest.
Absolutely critical for the immune benefits too. Crushed, rested, raw garlic. It seems to act like an adaptogen for the immune system, helping bring it into balance.
Adaptogen, meaning it doesn't just stimulate, it regulates.
Exactly. Helps it respond appropriately. And we even have real-world data. A big study on healthcare workers found those eating raw garlic at least 3 times a week had 63% fewer respiratory infections.
Wow, okay, that's compelling for immunity. Let's talk about the heart. Big topic.
Huge topic. Cardiovascular disease is still the #1 killer globally.
And it's complex, right? Blood pressure, cholesterol, inflammation, blood flow.
So many factors. And conventional drugs drugs often target just one piece of the puzzle.
And can have side effects we talked about, but garlic.
Seems to offer a more multifaceted approach, like hitting multiple targets at once.
Okay, like blood pressure. Does it actually help?
Yes, meta-analyses show consistent, significant reductions in people with hypertension. We're talking drops of maybe 8-10 points systolic, 5-8 points diastolic on average.
And even a small drop makes a difference, right?
Oh yeah, even a 5-point drop in systolic significantly lowers stroke and heart disease risk.
How does it do that? What's the mechanism?
It seems to work a couple of ways. It inhibits angiotensin 7. That's a hormone that constricts blood vessels.
Okay.
And it stimulates hydrogen sulfide production, which helps blood vessels relax. So constriction down, relaxation up.
Nice. What about cholesterol? The bad LDL stuff.
Reviews show garlic can lower LDL by around 10% in people with high levels.
10% is pretty good.
It is. And it doesn't just work one way, like statins might. It seems to reduce cholesterol production in the liver and help the body excrete it and act as an antioxidant to protect LDL from becoming oxidized, which is extra harmful.
Multi-pronged attack again. And blood clots. Big risk for heart attack, stroke.
Yes, research shows compounds in raw garlic can inhibit platelets from clumping together, similar to how aspirin works, but potentially without the same stomach risks for some folks.
It modulates the clotting process.
Seems to, yeah.
Yep.
Affects multiple pathways involved.
So all this lab stuff, does it translate to fewer actual heart problems in real people?
Looks like it. A large Chinese study found older adults eating fresh garlic just once a week had a 26% lower risk of dying from cardiovascular causes.
Just once a week.
Yep. And if they had high blood pressure already, the risk reduction was even bigger, 38%.
Yeah.
Shows benefit even at modest intake.
That's really encouraging.
It is. Other analyses suggest regular garlic intake is linked to maybe a 16 to 40% lower risk of cardiovascular events, like heart attacks.
Wow.
There was even research suggesting treating high-risk people with garlic for 2 years could prevent one cardiac event for every 33 people treated.
That sounds comparable to some medication.
Potentially, yes, and possibly with a better safety profile overall.
Could it work with heart meds?
Some trials suggest it can add to the benefit, like lowering blood pressure a bit more without extra side effects.
Yeah.
But, and this is important, because of its blood-thinning effects, people already on anticoagulants, warfarin, clopidogrel, even aspirin need to be cautious and definitely talk to their doctor before taking garlic supplements or large amounts.
Take good caution. So, summing up heart health. Garlic seems like a cornerstone for prevention.
Given its broad action on blood pressure, cholesterol, clotting, inflammation, yeah, it really looks like a powerful player in cardiovascular preventive medicine.
Okay, so we know it's potentially amazing, but you mentioned a disconnect. People aren't always getting these results. Why not?
Well, a huge part is that preparation gap we hammered home. Not crushing and resting it properly neutralizes the key compounds.
Right, the 10-minute rule.
Exactly. And then, let's be honest, there's the garlic breath issue. That stops a lot of people.
Can't ignore that. Okay, so let's get super practical. Remind us, best way to prep and use it.
Number 1, crush or mince it thoroughly. Number 2, let it rest for 10 to 15 minutes before heating or eating raw.
Don't cook it immediately.
No, immediate heat kills the magic. For maximum benefit, raw after resting is best. Aim for maybe 1 to 2 cloves a day.
And if you do cook it,
add it right at the very end of cooking. Minimize heat exposure.
Got it. Any downsides, side effects?
Yeah, if you eat a lot, some people get digestive upset, heartburn, gas, nausea.
So start small.
Definitely. See how your body handles 1 clove, and eating it on an empty stomach might cause a burning sensation.
And I said the blood thinning thing again.
Crucial reminder, if you're on blood thinners or having surgery soon, avoid medicinal doses of garlic and talk to your doctor. It can increase bleeding risk.
Okay. Any allergies?
Rare, but possible. If you're allergic to onions or other things in that family, be cautious.
Right. Now, the breath. Any real solutions?
The million-dollar question. Chewing fresh parsley, mint, or fennel seeds can help. Drinking milk with the meal seems to bind some sulfur compound.
Milk. Interesting.
Yeah, and those little stainless steel soap things you use on your hands, rubbing one on your tongue might actually help too. Worth a try.
Okay. Any tasty ways to get that raw rested garlic down?
Sure. Mix the crushed rested garlic with a spoonful of honey, makes it kind of like a syrup.
Huh.
Or stir it into olive oil for dipping bread after it rests. Add it last minute to salad dressings, guacamole, hummus. That mellows it a bit.
Good tips. And just to be clear, more isn't always better. Don't go eating like 10 cloves.
No, definitely not. Excessive amounts Maybe over 4 or 5 cloves daily regularly can increase side effects and might even be counterproductive. Stick to that modest 1 or 2 cloves prepared right. That seems to be the sweet spot.
Okay, so wrapping this up, it really feels like this humble, everyday ingredient
Yeah, this thing our ancestors swore by.
is actually backed by some pretty solid modern science as a potent natural medicine.
It's a fantastic example of ancient wisdom holding up under the microscope.
Yeah.
It shows that sometimes the answers aren't just in labs.
Sometimes they're right there in our kitchens.
Exactly.
So maybe a little challenge for everyone listening. Try it. Just 1 clove a day, crush it, let it sit 10 minutes, eat it how you like, see how you feel after, say, 30 days.
It's a simple experiment. But remember, and this is key, natural remedies like garlic work best as part of a healthy lifestyle.
Right, it's a complement, not necessarily a replacement for needed medical care.
Absolutely. Always talk to your doctor, especially if you have existing conditions or are on medication.
Definitely. But still, it's pretty amazing to think about the power packed into that little bulb.
Wisdom of the ages, waiting to be rediscovered. Invites you to learn more, doesn't it? That's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive today.
It was my pleasure.
And to all our listeners out there, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing for progress. Until next time, stay curious.